Hi everybody, Academic Writing in 3 minutes, and this podcast looks at cautious language. Cautious language, sometimes called hedging language, sometimes called tentative language. And by cautious language, I mean, say, verbs such as appear, seem, indicate, suggest, tend. Appears to show is a very common phrase in cautious language. Also, you've got modal verbs like may and might and could. You've got a wide range of adverbs, including words like regularly, probably, possibly, rarely, hardly ever, that kind of thing. And also adjectives such as possible, likely, probable, that kind of thing. And also there are nouns like tendency, assumption, probability. Okay, so there's a range of cautious language out there to use. So one thing to remember is that not all cautious language means the same, because there are degrees of strength in the language you use. So because probably is stronger than possibly, for example. Yeah. So when you're using a cautious phrase or just a word, be careful that it does match what you want to say. Now, why do we use cautious language? Well, basically because when we're summarising or concluding what evidence may or may not show or mean, it's just our own interpretation. And how you interpret evidence and how I interpret evidence may be different. So who's to say and who's right and who's wrong? Okay? I know it's not about being right or wrong anyway, but if you see it like that, it's just our own interpretation. So when you're interpreting evidence, instead of being really certain and saying this definitely shows or this proves, by the way, never say this proves, because it's very difficult to say that anything proves anything. Okay, we need to take a step back and use more cautious phrases so the reader will be persuaded by our ideas. So if you've got a paragraph, a main body paragraph, and you've got some good debate going with different evidence, and at the end you make a critical comment, might begin, from the evidence, this appears to show, cautious, that, and then you make your conclusion. And because you said this appears to show, you're saying, well, this is my interpretation. Okay, and so the reader is more likely to be persuaded than if you say this definitely shows or it's very certain that or something like that. Because the more certain you are with your interpretations, the more evidence you need. Okay, and obviously if you're writing an assignment, we've got limitations of time and also word count. And so if you're a bit more cautious, the reader is likely to be more persuaded than not. And as I said, it shows the reader that you understand this is your own interpretation. Okay. However, having said that, as I said a few moments ago, make sure that the word or phrase you use indicates the strength that you want to convey. Because if you've got a lot of evidence and you are persuaded, then say so. Okay, but as I said, avoid very, very strong phrases like this definitely shows, or this proves that, or it's absolutely certain, because they're too strong for phrases when we are interpreting evidence. Okay, so cautious language, use it when we're making conclusions in our main body paragraphs, usually when we're being critical. Okay, and also choose the phrase you want that matches what you want to say. Okay. Thanks for listening, everybody. Hope it was useful. Cheers. Take care.